The Galactic Council had long prided itself on cataloging every species they encountered, classifying them based on threat levels, resources, and capabilities. For millennia, they had successfully maintained peace by understanding the galaxy's inhabitants, until they discovered the human race. The Council's explorers came upon a small blue planet orbiting a yellow sun in a nondescript sector. Reports quickly poured in, describing the humans as a new species native to a death world, a term used for planets with extreme environmental hazards and high levels of biodiversity that posed constant danger to life. Death worlds were considered breeding grounds for unique but ultimately insignificant life forms, often too consumed with surviving their own environments to be a concern to the wider galaxy. The initial scans of humans didn't show anything alarming. Their physiology was unimpressive by galactic standards, bipedal, lacking natural weapons like claws or fangs, and with only moderate physical strength. They were slower than the average predator and relied heavily on external tools. More importantly, their homeworld was hazardous enough to suggest that humans had evolved under conditions of constant danger, which should have made them cautious, perhaps even submissive. The Council's analysts pored over the data, noting the curious nature of human civilization. While technologically advanced, the species showed no unified planetary governance, instead splintered into hundreds of smaller factions, nations, they were called. This was seen as a sign of immaturity in a galactic sense. Civilized species typically united under one banner before venturing into space, and humanity had only begun exploring the stars relatively recently. A decision was made to classify humans as low-threat herbivores, more suited to cautious observation than immediate concern. After all, a species that hadn't even united its own planet couldn't possibly pose any real danger. Some council members argued that humans were an anomaly, too primitive to be a threat but too clever to be ignored entirely. They cited humanity's history of war, invention, and innovation as a potential indicator of latent danger. However, these concerns were waved away. The larger, more imposing species of the galaxy, the apex predators, had already been dealt with, and none of them had ever posed a true challenge to the Galactic Council. But there were a few who couldn't shake the unease. One particularly concerned counselor noted how humans had adapted to their harsh environment. They had not just survived the dangers of their world but had thrived. Humans, he argued, had mastered fire, harnessed the power of their planet's elements, and conquered predators that should have wiped them out. And yet, instead of fearfully avoiding danger, they actively sought it. The counselor pointed out how humans had transformed from prey into the dominant species on their planet. Despite this, the official designation was finalized. Humans were labeled as a curiosity at best, a resource at worst, but never a threat. The council decided to observe the species for further study, but no more than that. Meanwhile, trade ships and exploration fleets were already making their way to Earth, eager to engage with this new species that, by all accounts, was entirely underwhelming. As the trade delegations prepared to make contact, the general sentiment throughout the galaxy remained one of mild interest. Humans were considered backward and harmless, survivors of a dangerous planet, yes, but too divided and too small a force to be of any real consequence. They would, at most, become useful as another cog in the galactic machine, perhaps as a minor trade partner or source of natural resources. But behind closed doors, a few whispers persisted. There was something about humans that didn't quite fit into the Council's neat categories. Their resilience, their curiosity, and their relentless desire to explore beyond the stars, the traits of prey species did not align with what was being observed. Some felt a quiet discomfort about how quickly humans had developed spacefaring technology, and how adaptable they seemed when facing unknown challenges. It was said that humans had a unique way of thriving in adversity, of overcoming every challenge their hostile world had thrown at them. One elder counselor summed it up best: the humans have faced extinction many times, but every time, they have not just survived, they have evolved. The council laughed at his concerns, believing that they were once again seeing caution where there was no danger. They were wrong. The Galactic Trade Delegation arrived on Earth with great anticipation. They had been briefed extensively on the humans and their primitive ways. Expecting an easy encounter with a simple species, they brought gifts of technology and knowledge, ready to barter for Earth's natural resources. The aliens assumed that their technological superiority would quickly overwhelm the humans, who they saw as naive and inexperienced in the ways of intergalactic diplomacy. When the delegation was greeted by human leaders, they were met not with primitive ignorance, but with a surprisingly polished and sophisticated welcome. The humans were polite, intelligent, and, much to the aliens' surprise, well-versed in the intricacies of diplomacy. The galactic delegation, having underestimated the humans, were caught off guard but pressed on with their agenda. They had assumed that their advanced technology and superior experience in galactic affairs would give them leverage, allowing them to dominate the trade negotiations. However, the humans didn't flinch. They sat at the negotiation table with calm confidence, listening attentively but giving nothing away. The aliens soon realized that the humans were not in awe of their advanced technology or the wealth of the galaxy. Instead, the humans showed a deep understanding of trade, economics, and strategy that was far beyond what the aliens had anticipated. The aliens attempted to play their usual tricks, offering what they considered inferior technology in exchange for valuable Earth resources. They expected the humans to jump at the opportunity, eager to catch up with the rest of the galaxy. But the humans didn't take the bait. Instead, they questioned the value of the technology being offered, comparing it to what they already had and even suggesting improvements to the alien designs. As the discussions continued, it became clear that the humans were not only prepared for these negotiations but had studied the alien species in great detail. They knew the weaknesses in the alien economies, the power dynamics within the Galactic Council, and the various alliances that held the galactic order together. The humans were playing a far more complex game than the aliens had anticipated. The delegation tried to regain control of the situation, but the humans were always one step ahead. Every offer the aliens made was met with counter-proposals that turned the tables. The humans skillfully negotiated better terms for themselves, extracting more and more concessions from the increasingly frustrated aliens. What had started as a mission to exploit a primitive species was quickly becoming a lesson in humility for the galactic delegation. As the talks dragged on, some of the aliens began to realize the gravity of their mistake. They had severely underestimated the humans, not just in terms of their intelligence but in their strategic thinking. The humans were not passive participants in these negotiations, they were predators, biding their time, studying their opponents, and striking when the moment was right. It was a pattern that the humans seemed to have perfected, one that had allowed them to survive and thrive on their dangerous homeworld. What disturbed the aliens the most was how the humans remained calm and patient throughout the process. They never showed anger or frustration, nor did they make any rash moves. Instead, they let the aliens overplay their hand, slowly dismantling their strategies and exposing their weaknesses. The humans were methodical, calculating, and relentless in their pursuit of the best possible outcome. By the end of the negotiations, the aliens had lost more than they had ever expected. Not only had they failed to secure the resources they had come for, but they had also inadvertently strengthened humanity's position in the galactic economy. The humans had gained access to valuable trade routes, technology, and information, all while giving up very little in return. The aliens left Earth with a new understanding of humanity. They had come to see the humans as simple, backward creatures, but they were leaving with a deep respect, and a growing sense of fear. It was now clear that the humans were far more dangerous than they appeared. Their ability to learn, adapt, and exploit weaknesses made them formidable opponents. The galactic delegation couldn't help but feel that they had only seen the beginning of what humanity was capable of. One member of the delegation, a seasoned diplomat who had dealt with countless species across the galaxy, summed up their collective realization in a single sentence: "We thought we were dealing with prey, but it turns out we were facing predators." As they left Earth's atmosphere, the delegation couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was something entirely new. Unlike any other species they had encountered, humans seemed to possess an instinct for survival that transcended mere physical strength. They were intellectual predators, always searching for an advantage, always waiting for the right moment to strike. The implications of this were profound. If humans could outmaneuver them in something as simple as trade negotiations, what would they be capable of in more serious matters? The question lingered in the minds of the aliens as their ship disappeared into the void of space, heading back to the heart of the galaxy to report what they had learned. It was a report that would send shockwaves through the Galactic Council, but for now, the galaxy remained unaware of the storm that was brewing on the small blue planet they had so easily dismissed. The alien empire had been watching humanity with increasing unease. What had started as a simple curiosity had grown into a source of concern. The humans were not expanding at the same slow pace as other new species had upon their initial entry into the galactic stage. They were accelerating. Their technology, though recently primitive, was advancing at an alarming rate. Within a few short decades, they had not only mastered interstellar travel but had also begun colonizing nearby planets. And the way they did it was unnerving, efficient, calculated, and relentlessly aggressive in pursuing opportunities. To the Empire, humanity's rapid development signaled danger. They feared that, unchecked, humans could become a rival force in the galaxy. The decision was made to strike first, believing they could overwhelm this young species before it grew too powerful. After all, their superior numbers, advanced weaponry, and centuries of experience in warfare would surely make this a quick and decisive victory. Earth and its colonies would be brought to heel, their resources seized, and their military dismantled before they even knew what had hit them. The first assault was launched on a human colony in a remote sector. The aliens deployed an overwhelming force, ships equipped with advanced weapons systems, troops trained for planetary invasions, and a strategy perfected over countless conquests. They anticipated a swift victory, expecting the humans to crumble under the weight of their superior firepower. But the humans didn't crumble. Instead, they fought back with a resilience that caught the invaders off guard. The initial barrage of attacks was met with tactical precision. Human defenses, though seemingly basic at first glance, were far more advanced than expected. The humans had prepared for an assault, and they had done so with chilling efficiency. Their weaponry, which the aliens had assumed would be vastly inferior, proved to be devastatingly effective, and their defensive strategies adapted in real time to counter the alien attack. What shocked the alien commanders even more was how quickly the humans began to reverse engineer their technology. Within days, the humans had captured alien equipment, analyzed it, and modified their own weapons to incorporate alien advancements. Their adaptability was unlike anything the Empire had seen before. Most species took years, even centuries, to integrate new technology. The humans had done it in a matter of hours. As the battle raged on, the invaders found themselves losing ground. The humans were relentless. They didn't fight with desperation, as the aliens had expected, but with cold, calculated efficiency. Every move the humans made seemed to be part of a larger plan, one that the aliens had failed to anticipate. Human commanders adapted their tactics mid-battle, exploiting every weakness in the alien strategy. They employed guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run attacks, and advanced cyber warfare techniques that disrupted alien communications and supply chains. The alien troops, once confident in their superiority, were soon overwhelmed by the sheer speed and precision of the human response. The humans fought like predators, patient, calculating, and merciless when the moment called for it. The aliens, used to crushing resistance with brute force, found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. Their vast technological advantage was being stripped away, piece by piece, as the humans adapted and overcame. The situation grew dire for the alien forces. What had been planned as a swift conquest was turning into a protracted and costly conflict. The Empire's generals were at a loss. How could this be happening? The humans were supposed to be primitive, barely beyond the threshold of space exploration. But here they were, not only holding their own but turning the tide of battle. One of the most chilling aspects of the conflict was the human mentality. There was no panic, no desperation, just cold determination. They fought with a singular focus, as if every move had been calculated long in advance. And as the aliens would soon learn, it had been. The humans had studied the galaxy long before the rest of the galaxy had started studying them. They had learned from observing the mistakes of other species, quietly preparing for the day when they would face a true threat. The humans' ability to adapt wasn't just limited to their technology. They adapted their minds, their strategies, and their tactics with the same precision. Each alien victory was short-lived, as the humans quickly turned it into an opportunity to learn and improve. Every setback was a lesson, every defeat a chance to grow stronger. This level of adaptability was unheard of among other species. What the aliens had failed to understand was that humanity's evolution on a death world had instilled in them an unparalleled capacity for survival. Earth had been a constant battlefield, a place where humans had learned to turn even the harshest environments to their advantage. They had faced predators far more dangerous than themselves and had become predators in their own right, not through sheer strength, but through intelligence, strategy, and an unrelenting will to survive. Now, the galaxy was witnessing this predatory nature in action. The humans didn't fight for territory or resources alone, they fought to dominate their environment, to bend it to their will. And when they fought to win, no matter the cost. As the days turned into weeks, the alien forces were pushed back. The humans had not only repelled the invasion but had launched a counteroffensive. Their fleets, now equipped with reverse-engineered alien technology, struck deep into the heart of the Empire. Planetary bases were overrun, supply lines severed, and entire fleets dismantled by human ingenuity. The Empire's leaders, once so confident in their ability to crush the humans, now faced a terrifying reality. They had awakened a force that could not be easily contained. Humanity was not just a species surviving in the galaxy, they were thriving, adapting, and evolving with every passing moment. By the time the alien forces finally withdrew, they were a shattered remnant of what they had once been. They had underestimated humanity, and the cost had been catastrophic. What they had failed to realize was that humans were not like other species. They didn't just fight wars, they learned from them. They didn't just survive adversity, they thrived in it. The aliens had sought to conquer Earth and its colonies, but instead, they had sparked the rise of a new power in the galaxy, one that would not be so easily dismissed again. Humanity, the species once thought to be weak and harmless, had revealed its true nature. And the galaxy would never be the same. News of the humans' triumph over the alien invaders spread quickly through the galaxy, sending shockwaves across countless star systems. The Galactic Council, which had initially dismissed humanity as insignificant, was forced to confront a harsh reality: they had gravely underestimated the humans. The Council had long prided itself on maintaining peace through control, using its immense political and military power to ensure stability. But now, for the first time in centuries, they faced a species that was not only capable of defending itself but also capable of turning the tables on its aggressors. The Council convened an emergency session to address the growing, human problem. The various species that made up the Council debated fiercely over how to handle the situation. Some, still clinging to old prejudices, believed that humanity's victory had been a fluke, a one-time success that could be rectified with a more coordinated effort. They proposed sending an even larger military force to crush humanity before they became a true threat. Others, however, were not so sure. Reports from the defeated alien empire painted a very different picture. Humanity's ability to adapt, their willingness to learn from their enemies, and their frightening efficiency in warfare had sent a clear message: they were not to be underestimated. Every weapon the humans encountered, they improved upon. Every strategy used against them was countered with ruthless precision. The humans didn't just survive battles, they dominated them, using every encounter as an opportunity to evolve. There was also another unsettling fact to consider: humans were expanding. They weren't content with simply defending their homeworld. Already, human ships had begun exploring deeper into galactic territory, and their colonies were growing rapidly. If left unchecked, humanity could soon become a rival force to the Council itself. The Council was divided. Some members argued for immediate diplomacy, reasoning that a species as intelligent and resourceful as humans would be better as allies than enemies. They suggested extending an olive branch, offering humanity a seat at the galactic table in exchange for cooperation. These counselors saw the potential for humanity to contribute to the stability and growth of the galaxy. But there were others who saw this as a dangerous gamble. They feared that humanity's inherent drive for survival and dominance could not be tempered by diplomacy. They pointed to the human history of conflict, both on Earth and in their early ventures into space. Humanity's nature, they argued, was predatory. Giving them a seat on the council would be like inviting a wolf into the fold of sheep. They believed that humanity would use diplomacy as a means to gain more power, ultimately becoming a threat to the entire galactic order. As the debate raged on, the council realized that time was running out. Humanity was not waiting for the galaxy to make its decision. They were moving forward, exploring, expanding, and learning at a pace that no other species had ever matched. The council's fear of losing control was palpable, and this fear drove them toward drastic measures. A secret faction within the council, composed of the most powerful and influential species, began to devise a plan. They believed that diplomacy was pointless and that humanity's rise needed to be stopped, permanently. Their solution was to engineer a decisive strike, one that would cripple humanity before they became unstoppable. The plan was simple: eliminate Earth, humanity's homeworld, in one swift blow. Without Earth, the humans would lose their base of operations, their morale would crumble, and their colonies would fall into disarray. This faction quietly rallied support, gathering the necessary resources and allies to carry out their plan. They knew they couldn't afford another drawn-out conflict like the one the alien empire had attempted. This time, they would strike with overwhelming force, using a superweapon capable of wiping out entire planets. The Council had banned such weapons centuries ago, but this faction believed that desperate times called for desperate measures. As preparations for the strike advanced, the faction remained confident in their decision. They believed that humanity's predatory nature would lead to chaos and destruction if allowed to grow unchecked. By eliminating Earth, they would be saving the galaxy from a future dominated by humans. But unbeknownst to them, the humans were already aware of the Council's internal struggles. Their intelligence networks had grown sophisticated, infiltrating the galactic communication systems and intercepting sensitive information. The humans had anticipated that their victory over the alien empire would attract the attention of the Galactic Council, and they had been preparing for the inevitable confrontation. When the humans discovered the existence of the superweapon and the plot to destroy Earth, they didn't panic. Instead, they did what they had always done: they adapted. Rather than reacting with fear or aggression, they turned the situation into an opportunity. The humans knew they couldn't simply wait for the Council to make its move. They needed to act first, and they needed to do so in a way that would change the game entirely. The humans' response was swift and precise. They launched a series of covert operations, targeting the Council's most sensitive installations and disrupting the faction's preparations. Using their superior knowledge of technology and warfare, the humans sabotaged key components of the superweapon, rendering it useless without the Council even realizing it had been compromised. At the same time, they spread misinformation within the Council, causing confusion and division among its members. The faction that had planned the strike was thrown into disarray. Their secret was out, and they had lost the element of surprise. Worse still, the humans had not only neutralized their superweapon but had also exposed the faction's actions to the rest of the Council. The revelation of the plot to destroy Earth caused outrage among the Council members, many of whom had not been privy to the faction's plans. The Council was now facing a full-blown crisis, internally divided and weakened by the very actions it had tried to conceal. As the chaos within the Council unfolded, the humans remained calm and deliberate. They had exposed their enemies' plans without firing a single shot, and in doing so, they had shifted the balance of power in their favor. The Council, once the ultimate authority in the galaxy, now found itself fractured and vulnerable. Humanity's mastery of strategy, their ability to exploit weaknesses, and their relentless drive for survival had once again proven to be their greatest strengths. The Council, which had once dismissed humans as an insignificant threat, now faced the undeniable reality: humanity was not just a rising power in the galaxy, they were the ultimate predators. And the galaxy would have to learn to live with them or risk being devoured by them. With the Council in disarray and the superweapon neutralized, the humans continued their expansion, quietly and efficiently. They didn't seek revenge or domination. They simply continued to do what they had always done: adapt, learn, and thrive. The galaxy was no longer the same place, and everyone knew it. The galaxy was still reeling from the revelation of the Galactic Council's internal corruption and the foiled plot to destroy Earth. The cracks in the Council's authority were widening, and the consequences of humanity's response were becoming more evident with each passing day. Where once the Council had been the unquestioned governing body of the galaxy, its members were now divided, distrustful of one another, and fearful of the growing human influence. In the wake of the Council's failure to act decisively against humanity, many of its member species began questioning their loyalty to the old order. For centuries, the Council had maintained power through a delicate balance of fear and control, ensuring that no one species could challenge its dominance. But now, humanity's rise had shifted that balance. The humans hadn't just survived the Council's attempts to subdue them, they had exposed its weaknesses for all to see. As word of humanity's resilience and tactical brilliance spread, species that had long been subjugated by the Council saw an opportunity. If the humans could stand up to the Council, then perhaps it was possible for others to break free from its control as well. Quietly at first, but with increasing boldness, these species began reaching out to humanity, seeking alliances and trade agreements. They recognized that humans were not just a passing anomaly, they were a force to be reckoned with, and aligning with them could offer protection and leverage against the Council's overreach. Humanity, ever pragmatic and forward-thinking, welcomed these new alliances. But rather than expanding through force or coercion, the humans chose a different path. They offered technology, knowledge, and the benefit of their experience in exchange for cooperation. They shared their advancements in fields like energy production, medicine, and agriculture, lifting the standard of living for countless worlds. Unlike the Council, which had always used its technology as a means of control, the humans used it to empower their allies. This strategy quickly began to shift the galactic power dynamics. The human approach was simple but effective: build trust through mutual benefit. Their new allies didn't feel subjugated or exploited, as they had under the Council. Instead, they saw humanity as partners who were willing to share their success and help others grow stronger alongside them. As the alliances grew, so too did humanity's influence. Human colonies expanded, not through conquest but through invitation. Species that had once been isolated or oppressed now thrived under human protection. Entire regions of the galaxy that had previously been under Council control were now slipping out of its grasp, as more and more species joined humanity's growing coalition. The Council, of course, did not take this shift lightly. Desperate to regain control, they attempted to levy sanctions against the humans and their allies, hoping to cut them off from vital resources and trade routes. But the sanctions had little effect. Human ingenuity had already made them largely self-sufficient, and their network of allies ensured that no single resource could be withheld from them. In fact, the sanctions only served to galvanize more species into joining humanity's cause, seeing the Council's actions as further proof of its declining legitimacy. At this point, the Council's leadership was in full-blown crisis mode. They had lost control of the narrative, and the very species they had once ruled over were now looking to humanity as a beacon of hope. In a last-ditch effort to reassert their authority, the Council called for a summit, inviting humanity and their new allies to negotiate a peaceful resolution to the growing tensions. They hoped to use diplomacy to rein in the humans, framing the summit as a way to restore balance to the galaxy. But humanity wasn't fooled by the Council's overtures. They understood that this summit was not about peace but about reasserting control. Nevertheless, the humans agreed to attend, knowing that they could turn the Council's own strategy against them. They didn't need to win a military victory, the battle for hearts and minds was already in full swing, and humanity was winning. When the summit convened, it was clear that the Council's position had weakened beyond repair. The room was filled not just with Council representatives but with leaders from species that had aligned themselves with humanity. These leaders, once voiceless under the Council's rule, now spoke with confidence, emboldened by their alliance with the humans. The humans themselves were calm, composed, and as always, precise in their approach. They didn't make demands or threats. Instead, they laid out a vision for the future of the galaxy, one where power wasn't concentrated in the hands of a few but shared among many. A future where knowledge and technology were not tools of control but means of mutual advancement. They spoke of cooperation, of free trade and mutual defense, and of a galaxy where every species could pursue its own destiny without fear of domination. The council members, especially the hardliners who had once advocated for the destruction of Earth, were left speechless. They had expected arrogance and defiance from the humans, but instead, they were faced with an offer that resonated with many of the species in attendance. The humans had positioned themselves not as conquerors, but as leaders of a new galactic order, one based on respect and collaboration. By the end of the summit, it was clear that the Council's days of dominance were over. Humanity had succeeded in doing what no other species had been able to do. They had broken the Council's stranglehold on the galaxy, not through war but through strategy and diplomacy. The humans hadn't just adapted to the galactic stage, they had redefined it. As the summit concluded, one by one, species that had long been oppressed or marginalized began publicly declaring their support for the human-led coalition. The Council, once the center of galactic power, was now little more than a shadow of its former self, its influence eroded by humanity's rise. In the end, it wasn't force or fear that had brought about this change, it was the humans' ability to unite others through shared purpose and a common vision for the future. Humanity had proven that they were more than just survivors. They were builders, innovators, and leaders. They had evolved not only to thrive on a dangerous world but to excel in the vast complexity of the galaxy. The Council had feared humanity as the ultimate predator, but they had failed to realize that the true strength of the humans lay not just in their ability to fight but in their ability to lead. The galaxy, once ruled by fear and control, was now on the cusp of a new era, an era shaped by humanity's relentless drive to adapt, learn, and grow. And as the stars stretched out before them, humanity stood ready to face whatever came next, confident in their ability to not only survive but to thrive in any challenge the universe might present.